What up, my motherfuckers? How y'all doing today? I've been putting this video off for a while. I do not like it. I do not like it one bit. I do not like it with him. So I don't really know how to quantify this video. Arrogance? Pride? A confession? From my shoes, I feel like it is a point of contrition. Like, I've spent, well, I'm 51 now. I spent the entire history of my life up until a year or so ago trying to analyze what's happened, who I am, that's caused all this chaos. I haven't understood it. I've tried to analyze it and look at it from every direction. A year or two ago, I started to have an idea. Wait, maybe, is that, nah, that can't be what it is. That's ridiculous. But I think that was what it is. And I don't really know how to put this in a manner that's not denigrating to you, or because that's not my point here. It's, boy, I've been so stupid my entire fucking life. Too smart for my own good, one might say. Literally. Like, fucking literally too smart for my own good. I just have no capacity to understand how I try so hard to get you your emotions and your ideologies and your allegiances, but they're always so shallow, so superficial. In my experience, most humans are creatures of last impact. What I mean by that is we typically base our entire id of a person based off the last impact they had on our life. And it flows both ways. Like, somebody can be your best friend your entire life, but they betray you one fucking time. Conversely, like, your enemy, mortal enemy, but they step up one time, it changes your entire relationship. I'm not like that. I look at the totality of a person. In my experience, most people believe good and evil are substances or forces in our universe. I'm sorry, again, I'm condescending. I am a dick. I apologize. But the idea that good and evil are forces in our world is just a ridiculously childish notion. Good and evil, to my understanding, are actually just emotional responses to our perceptions of stimuli. So as a person, the entirety of your reality can be summed up by your actions. And those actions you can apply to the benefit or to the harm of something. So you can improve it or you can make it worse. And those actions you can apply to yourself or to others. And you can draw out a little grid that shows how that works, where you're at the center of it, and self is in one direction, others in the other, and then benefit and then harm. And using that little grid of benefit, harm, self, and others, you can map out all of human existence. Like, everything you do ever will fall into that little grid. And that's how I look at the world. I don't just look at what have you done lately. I look at the whole picture, the totality of it. And I do not recommend it. My lowest common denominator viewpoint is fucking insane. Not in a clinical sense, although I do speculate there's going to be a study done on me at some point. So, my entire life, I have had an unusual knack at upsetting people. And I'm usually just standing there trying to scratch my head like, what's everybody so mad about? And usually, in retrospect, I can go back and look at, oh, I see. I guess that was kind of a dick move. I get that now. But usually when it's happening, it flies right over me. And sadly, I'm nowhere near as aggressive and mean as you people think I am. You have no idea how much I hold back, how much I restrain. And I am an absolute fucking nightmare to deal with. I have my aunt, my mom living with me, and my mom's friend comes around a lot, and those poor ladies deal with hell. I am a pain in the ass. It's just the way I see the world. I can't understand your point of view. So people would always accuse me of being condescending or belligerent, and I always refused it. I'm like, that's not true. And my point of view, it wasn't true. In hindsight, I understand. Oh wait, oh shit, okay. I see the error. And this is where this gets complicated, because I don't know how to say this without being further derogatory to people. Goodness, I hate being me sometimes. So, up until a few weeks ago, months ago, no, 2026, somewhere 2024, 2025, in that gap, a couple things happened that made me stop and analyze an aspect of my life I had never really stopped to analyze. And I did not like what I found. For many reasons. One of the biggest is that everybody my entire life had told me what I was doing, but I was too fucking smart to listen. Too cool for school, if you would say. They always told me it was a waste of potential and it was a waste of talent and that I should focus and study more. And I was like, fuck that. And in hindsight, I understand why I did it. Like most people, they think I'm just lazy. Oh, it's a pot. You just, no, I've just never had shit to prove to anyone. Like, period. If you go back through and look at my life, understanding that I refute the idea that I need to prove myself to anybody, my life makes a fucking lot more sense. I've always sort of felt like you can love me as I am, or you can go fuck yourself. Sadly, a lot of people have chosen to go fuck themselves. I still love them as they are. Well, most of them. Some of them changed the nature of my love, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So what the fuck am I talking about? Right? 127. I never really knew what that number meant. I knew what it was. I knew where it came from. When they told me that number, they told me it made me slightly above average. I was like, all right, fair enough, I get that. And that's been my worldview ever since I learned that. I was slightly above average. No big. So 127 is the IQ they gave me in the 5th grade. Now, I know IQ is not a metric that's followed or stood by anymore, and there's a lot of variables and factors that went into it that, pseudoscience, but it does establish some sort of baseline of reasoning in relation to your peers. And so in 5th grade, I was struggling in school. My mom was getting called in and having to deal with a lot of issues, and I was not doing well. I was falling behind, and the educators were concerned that I was slow. So a plan was hatched. Let's get him tested. Now this was, 85, maybe? It was the year of the Challenger. This happened at that same school. had a fight in the bathroom with a husky young fella. Became my only friend in the school, actually, but we didn't start off as friends. We bullied each other, got in a fight in the bathroom, ended up laughing our ass off about it later in the principal's office. It was a very awkward moment, but very typical for my life. There's just so much of it doesn't make any fucking sense. But is what it is. I love my life. It's an incredible fucking joy. You guys think that it's all misery and depression, and that's just part of it. And that's a small aspect of my life. But the past 10 years have been so illuminating in so many ways. A lot of them I don't like, but most of them I'm grateful for. 127. So they bring me into school or wherever it was. It wasn't at the school. It was some sort of off-site place my mom had to arrange to get us to, and she was, in this respect, always a great, loving, and caring mother. Like, they told her there was a problem. She's like, "Okay, let's go. Let's get this taken care of." And the people at the place, I don't really remember how many were there. I know we interacted with 3 or 4 at least, but I feel there were like dozens of different people, and they were all so sweet and so kind and so patient, and they kept saying the sweetest things to me. Like, "Oh, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with being held back, honey. It'll be okay if you get held back. It's all right. Lots of kids happen. It won't." And thanks. I appreciate that. 5th grade, taking a test to see if I was, well, all right, so I dropped the R word a lot, retarded. When I was a kid, I was taught that was the clinical definition for it, but I only ever use it in relation to myself. So I apologize if I dropped that and I upset you and hurt your feelings. Again, I've only ever used it as myself to mock and ridicule myself for silliness, but I'm trying to get better on that. I almost dropped it right there, and then I went ahead and explained why I paused. I'm stupid like that. Despite this video, I'm really not a smart man, but I took a test one time that suggested I was. And so all these people were telling me how it was okay if I got held back. It wouldn't be a big deal. And I was like, yeah, I understand. That's cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. That's very sweet of you. I have always been an incredible manipulator. The thing is, I don't manipulate for my benefit. I try to manipulate away from myself. And what happened in 5th grade is part of why. I don't remember which conversation it was, but it was right before I took it, somewhere before that, when I was talking to one of the people. I think it was the administrator who actually gave me the test. She said something that, if I reference brain squirrels a lot, and those are the random thoughts in my head that bounce around and conflict, and when she said what she said, oh dear Lord, did she set off a panic. Y'all, inside my head, I was running out the door. I was on a bus to Greyhound. I was planning I was going to start over in Canada. Hypervigilance disorder is weird. And what she said wasn't bad. That's so fucked up. What she said is, honey, who knows? This test might come back and you might even get advanced. Right there. I don't know if she knew or if she was just trying to be kind. But right there, she exposed my entire fucking plot. I was like a squirrel caught in the headlights. The jig was up. I was going to prison. I had lied to get here. I was in such deep shit. But they didn't know. Nobody caught on. She was just trying to be nice. I wasn't there because I was slow. I was there because I noticed in 3rd and 4th grade that some kids got to stay behind. And all they had to do was get bad grades. I could do that. Turned out I was pretty fucking good at it. In fact, I was so good, I got myself in a room with a teacher who was going to test me to see what my IQ was like. Oh my God, it was one of the most terrifying moments in my life. I was like, what have I done? What have I done? Oh my God, oh my God. And to my knowledge, these were like psychologists, like the real deal. Like as far as I knew, they could read my fucking mind, and they just exposed me. But no, they didn't even. So I tried to fail that test. I tried to fail that test so fucking hard. If I knew the answer, I made sure I got it wrong. And I knew a lot of the answers. But when I didn't know the answer, I got curious. And I didn't think to change those answers. Jeez. So afterwards, when we were talking, and the teacher started suggesting that I should take more challenging classes. Because clearly the problem was that I wasn't being stimulated enough in class. She was totally fucking right. 110%. That grade level was, oh, Jiminy Christmas. I know how to pick boogers, all right, fuck off. It is what it is, but so there I am in the office with my mom and the teacher or counselor, or just, I don't even fucking know what she was. I do remember she was a very sweet, kind lady, and honest to God, I thought she was going to turn me in for trying to in my head, it was like illegal to fake a test or something, and like the feds were gonna come and take me away at any time. But I knew the whole time that wasn't real. It was just phobia in my head. But I don't know. I always wondered what it looked like because inside my head I was. As far as I know, outside I maintained my calm pretty much until she started talking about advancing me, and I made it very clear that if anything like that happened, I would never pass any class ever again. But she told me she did try to convince my mom to get me in some advanced classes, and I remember there was one particular exchange that really struck me as odd, and it was the way she responded to something my mom had said, and I don't remember exactly what my mom had said, but it was something like, well, is that a good score? And I was never really able to quantify the way she looked at the score until a couple of years ago, and she like kind of looked down at it, and her eyes kind of raised up. And again, I was having a bit of a shit fit about being advanced, and so I think she was trying to downplay it for me, but communicate to my mom that, yeah, this is a remarkable score. And again, 127 doesn't mean like super genius. There's still at least 3% of the planet that is smarter than me. But I tried to fail. I tried to fail. I tried to be held back. So a year or so ago, well, many years ago, I had two beautiful little children, absolute son of my life. I would cut out my heart and bleed for them if it would make them smile for half a minute. And sadly, the nature of our relationship now is that it might. Thankfully, they don't realize that, yeah, killing myself made them feel better. I'd probably do it and let them watch. Nature of high functioning sociopath is odd, but I love me most days. 127. So my kids exceeded any sort of expectations I ever could have had for them. I expected them to be thudlin, murderous little psychopaths. Me and their mom were some fucked up individuals, and they were essentially raised in World War III, which, I mean, in hindsight, is going to make them very comfortable with what's coming. But in my estimation, the both of them, either one of them, were always leaps and bounds smarter than I was. By every measure. They just clicked shit so much easier than I did. Well, than I thought I did. I think a lot of it was society. My entire life telling me, oh, you smoke weed, that's gonna fuck up your mind, it's gonna burn you out. So when I'd have these ideas, I would dismiss them and hide them. And I was afraid that if I told you guys about them, like my combustion engine theory, I genuinely believed for 30 plus years that if I ever told anybody that I believed that the entirety of our universe could be contained inside a combustion engine of a galactic engine, that I would be locked up in a padded cell drooling. The funny thing is, 40 years ago, I would have called that a bad thing. But if there's any clinic like psychologists out there that are watching this and saying that needs to happen, like, hook me up, bro. Give me the drip. Just put me in a window and let me, please. Like, that peace of mind would be. Whew. I wonder what it's like to have just one thought. I envy that. Sometimes. Usually not, though. I actually like multitasking naturally. It helps me bounce around. My kids are so fucking bright. And I always thought they understood. I always thought they knew. I always thought they were smarter than me. I was arguing with them a few months ago, and we were arguing about animal ownership, and it got pretty heated. I didn't really understand why, but I'd noticed a couple things happen in the conversation that I brain squirreled and threw into the back of my mind. What I mean is sometimes I'll capture little moments and try to process later what happened, analyze it, and those are my brain squirrels, little ideas. Most of them are phobias, trying to convince myself that no, people are not trying to murder and kill you. It's all in your head. I'm usually quite fucking good at that. I have this subconscious percentage for my brain squirrels, and they're all very, very low. When they exceed 50 to 60%, I'm worried. When my brain squirrels exceed 80%, they've generally manifested in the world. Like my DNA theory, I had this idea for compressed images in DNA as a kid in middle school. That was one of my most batshit crazy theories I had, because it was tied to these ideas of alien species subjugating our Earth and turning us into a mining species. So what we call it innovation isn't. It's just image unlocks in our brain, and it leads us to develop technology eventually to a point to where we send a signal out to space and say, hey, we're ready for collection. And then what we call Armageddon is actually the harvest, where they come by and pick up whatever we've developed and whatever we've done, and essentially wipe out our civilization, and then they move on and we start over. And I had this idea when I was 10, maybe. One of my teachers had taught me about the depth of DNA and how much data could be stored in there. And I had a very rudimentary understanding of what programming was like. And I was like, fuck, you could program a lot of shit in there. And sadly, a couple months ago, I found out science is doing exactly that. We've encoded music into images, into DNA sequences. And my batshit crazy phobia is entirely fucking plausible. Oh, that fucked me up. But that was one of many little things that's happened in the past decade that have made me think, wait, maybe I'm smarter than I think I am. Oh shit. And that's what happened with my kids when we were arguing. My son said something to me that really fucked me up, and it took me a long time to process it. Well, a couple months. He told me that body language is universal. Now, bear in mind, he's a college-educated graduate, went through 4 years, criminal law, one of the smartest kids in his class. He wasn't like a 4.0 student, but if you understood the effort the kid put into the school, he should have been a 4.0 student. I mean, like his daddy, he put in zero effort and caked through. I think he had better grades than I did. I do. He attended a lot more school than I did, too, so that's probably related. But he told me body language is universal. Now, I've known body language isn't universal since middle school, before. I've been around the world. I've seen it in like different states, and like in some parts of my life, growing up with the bikers and stuff, telling somebody to fuck you and flip them off, get laughed and joked. In other parts of my life, saying that would get people all pissed off and angry and wanting to beat you up. And I always struggle with those discrepancies in human emotions and perceptions. It's always been a problem for me. So when my son was standing here in my dining room telling me that human body language is universal, oh, that fucking blew my mind. But I didn't stop and talk to him about that. I just brain squirreled it and processed it later. Once I started analyzing what that meant, I went back and I looked at my intelligence and I looked at the IQs, and turns out 127 is slightly higher than average. But the average is a lot fucking lower than I thought. Be right back. Time to refresh. Alright, where was I? 127. Body language. Universal. College educated son. That shit blew my mind. Over the next couple of weeks and months, I started looking into, my intelligence, to be honest with you. Now, I was 50. I'm not sure exactly when that conversation happened. So I was 50, 49, somewhere in that ball. And I had always thought that I was a couple points higher than average. So I thought humans in general were 125. Like, that made sense to me. I never really questioned it. I didn't look into it. It's just how it worked in my head. Okay, slightly higher than average. I get that. But after hearing the body language was universal, wait, what? It's not. It's like a cultural. I mean, there are some things that they believe are universal, like hunger, anger, things like that, but I'm not sure they are. I think they might be learned behavior processes. I think that when we are infants, we are just a mass of neurons, and we don't even really understand what's happening most of the times. We're just reacting, and then we reinforce certain behaviors by responding to them in certain ways. But again, I'm just a dirty old bastard with high-speed internet. I don't really know shit about shit. So I was looking into my intelligence thinking, that can't be what it is it? No way. Can't be that fucking obvious. Well, it is. It really is. So the average human intelligence is 100. I'm 27 points higher than the human average. And I tried to fail. I tried to get held back. Absolutely insane. It makes sense in hindsight, looking back at my life. I always make people so angry. Humans, we do not respond to people that are smarter than us. And I catch things, I grasp them, I understand them quicker. So I have been condescending and belligerent. I just didn't understand the nature of it. I was confused. How come you guys weren't grasping the basics of what I was telling you? But it's me that's the problem. I can't understand your point of view, and I gotta find a way to bridge that gap. Anyways, love you always and forever. Stay amazing. Thanks for listening.